Hi folks, you're with Tacitus Today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this lesson, I'd like to talk about an article, or two articles actually, I saw about how performance reviews, workplace performance reviews, discriminate against women and ethnic minorities, that in white countries, advanced white, rich white countries, that straight white males, that the standard for evaluation is a standard for evaluating straight white males. So these articles assert. Now, by virtue of that automatically the articles claim discriminates against women and black people, Hispanic or whatever, because they work differently, that they behave differently, they work differently, and they achieve results differently. So, all right then, let's explore that. So, because of this alleged difference between the way white people work and the results they produce, and what other groups, women or again, black and brown people and so on, because they work differently and produce different results, that the evaluation criteria should therefore be different. The evaluation criteria should be specific to these people. Now, the article argues that the fact that women say, produce just as much of value in the workplace as men do, but they just go about it differently. Therefore, they should be evaluated differently. But that's, the performance reviews that I haven't had to attend a performance review for years now. So the performance reviews that I had to attend were, did you produce the results? Some of it was methodology. Did you follow the company's policies for doing so and so? There'd be that. Did you follow the instruction manual and so on? But it was really all about, did you get the results? Now, I've often been in jobs where the measuring for results was very clear, and women tend to avoid those things because they're strictly pass or fail, and I had a lot of trouble with women just not wanting to do jobs that were where you took personal responsibility, where your performance could be measured exactly. Did you or did you not achieve your budget, your target, your numbers, your profit, or whatever it was? And women never liked that. And if women did get into it because it seemed glamorous and so on, because there were lots of hot guys there they wanted to rub shoulders with. As soon as they realised that responsibility, then they couldn't get out of it quick enough. Some would stay with it, but I remember a woman getting. She pestered everybody to get a job in the sales department of this company I was at, and I was the VP, and she wanted to get. She was a party girl because these guys were making pretty good money, and they partied, and they were the so-called work hard, play hard type vibe. And she wanted to be part of that. She thought that was very glamorous and fancied herself as again being part of that scene. But as soon as it dawned on her that she was going to be personally responsible for getting the numbers, the sales figures in this case, she was, as hard as she pestered us to get into it, she was pestering us to get out of it. I'm a people person, and really she wanted to go into areas of women's things where there'd be lots of little women's sort of girly meetings where they'd all pretend, they'd play house and this sort of thing, and they'd all pretend they were very important and were making momentous decisions, but really were doing nothing, just going around in circles and like and women are really natural born sort of committee bureaucrat type people there, with some exceptions, of course, but it was rare that they'd be that they didn't want that. So some of the measuring of performance thing, women aren't in, or as often as men anyway, aren't in strictly performance-based jobs. So the argument would be, well, you can't measure performance when you're part of a committee of 100 people, and and all you do is sit in meetings all day. Now, there are professional bureaucrats. I mean, we come across them all the time in the business that I've got to share in. And some of these women, all they do is go from meeting to meeting all day. That's all they do. They don't do any work. They do nothing. I mean, the closest they get to actually doing a work is booking a conference room. That's it. And so, and again, they avoid personal responsibility at all times. I've come across a number. There's a woman who was a computer programmer, and she managed to get herself hired as one of the top paid programmers, and she successfully managed to bullshit her way through that she was really a people person, and she liked to be part of a programming team so that they could share ideas and so on. So she ended up doing that top. She's been paid top. She was like a receptionist in reality. She's been paid top dollar as a top flight programmer when really she couldn't cut a line of code to save her life. And because she managed to deal herself into committees and large groups and so on of work groups, then no one quite worked out that she actually didn't know it, and she probably got away with it for nearly 2 years before someone asked the hard questions. And she did the right thing. If someone did start asking questions, she'd start to cry and this sort of thing. So she managed to sort of just get away with it. But in the end, the company didn't take action against her and didn't demand that she paid the money back. But the difference was huge. Her income was I'll just round the numbers off here, but say her income was like a receptionist was like $100, but she was getting paid like $450 a year in relative difference. By being this top flight programmer or supposed top flight programmer. So coming back now, should women and minorities be evaluated differently? Well, given the proportion of minorities that are affirmative action appointments, that they would have reason to say, well, gee, I didn't get hired because I was qualified or skilled or I had the necessary expertise or experience or knowledge. I only got hired because I'm a black lesbian. So I'm terrified of being held to a standard of performance that they hold straight white males to, because I know I'm not going to cut it. I know I won't make the grade. So now I've got the affirmative action gig. Why doesn't the company give me an affirmative action performance evaluation? Because if I get evaluated to the same standards as straight white males, I'm fucked. They'll have to fire me. I just don't come anywhere near it, and my self-esteem will suffer, and then I can take the company to court for racism and get millions in a payout as me. But look, this you can sort of see the point. You can see the point. Look, I haven't been hired because of my expertise. So why would you evaluate me as in a performance evaluation? Why would you evaluate me based on the criteria that assumes that I am qualified when clearly I'm not? I'm an affirmative action appointment, God damn it. So you evaluate me for other reasons. Now, you look at the articles, which are invariably written by women, by the way, that say that they want a different type of evaluation because, I go to meetings, or I work in committees and I work in teams. I don't take responsibility for anything at any time. And if responsibility comes very near me, I'm ducking under the desk. So don't evaluate me on a basis of performance. Now, it is hard to evaluate somebody when they have no responsibility for any specific, a performance band or KPI. So their KPIs are soft of, did they attend all the meetings? Did they write up the minutes of the meeting? Did they distribute the memo? Those sorts of things. But that's very soft. So it's not, you could kind of call it performance, but it's very bureaucratic and committee type stuff, and no responsibility. Responsibility, if there is any at all, is shared widely across a large committee, which is how women like it. Mostly, again, there are exceptions. So this idea is that and it's actually getting traction, and I see it around when I'm going around, and when I go to see clients, that they're hiring all these affirmative action, low quality people, and then evaluating them separately, uniquely as a low quality. So because you can only count to 10, we'll only evaluate you on that, even though the job actually requires that you can count to 100. Doesn't matter. We'll only evaluate you on counting to 10. And so these people, not only are they hired and given a free pass, but their ongoing employment is also getting a free pass. Now, straight white males don't get that. Straight white males still have to, unless they're the CEO's relative or something, straight white males still have to perform to a standard. I think even that's slipping, by the way. But the unfair thing is that straight white males are held to a high standard, while the others are held to a much lower standard, and they've been hired because their affirmative action hires in the first place. So the lack of fairness is to the straight white males. If you want to have lower standards of performance evaluation, why not do it for everybody? Why is there a special low category performance evaluation for women and minorities? Why is that so? Again, it's part of this equity program, producing equal outcomes. But it's having tragic commercial consequences. Businesses that they're just fucking hopeless, useless, pathetic, and bad, and they're that way because they've got so many affirmative action to hire people. And you particularly see it in areas like diversity and human resources, but now in other areas. I've gone into organisations where there's not a white face in sight, and the quality of service and workmanship is diabolically bad, just like it would be in the third world country these people came from. So they're exporting their third world ineptitude to the West with the full support of the globalists. It's completely insane. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback Challenge. Thank you for listening.